You weren't meant to stumble on this by accident. You found it because something in you was finally ready. There is a small gland at the center of your brain that has been called a mystery for centuries. Call it the pineal gland. Call it the third eye. Whatever name you give it, it responds to field and frequency. It listens to a signal the world often forgets to broadcast. And right now, that signal is changing. Slow your breath. Feel the chair beneath you. Hear the soft space between your in-breath and out-breath. Notice the warmth behind your eyes. This is where awareness lives. This is where activation begins. Not everyone notices this moment. Only a few feel the tug, a subtle tilt in perception, a deepening of dreams, a clarity that arrives like sunlight through a fog. You are one of those few. That's why you're here. That's why this message found you. Science whispers of calcification and light-sensitive cells. Mystics speak of inner seeing and divine sight. Both are pointing to the same truth. Consciousness can shift. A frequency change. A field rearrangement. A gentle opening of the inner eye. When the pineal gland unfurls, reality widens. Colors become messages. Synchronicities become signs. Your inner map rewrites itself. Stay present. Let the truth not rush past you. Let it sink into the chest, into the bones, into the space between words. This is not an idea. This is an invitation to move from watching life to sensing life, from reaction to resonance. Take a breath. Stay here. This isn't just content. It's your activation point. Signs your pineal gland is awakening. A sudden flash of inner starlight threads through the hush of your mind. Not loud, but undeniable. Like a lighthouse turning for the first time in fog. You may notice it first as a subtle tilting of reality. Dreams that arrive with the clarity of a remembered conversation. Colors that seem tuned a fraction higher. A taste of sunlight on your tongue. These are not mere coincidences. They are the early language of a gland tuning itself to a different frequency. An organic antenna waking to receive a broader field of information. You, who have felt restless in ordinary rooms and tired of the same explanations, will recognize this subtlety. It shows up as heightened empathy. Strangers' moods become weather you can feel. It shows up in altered time. An hour stretches like a possibility. A day condenses into a single lesson. It shows up as sound reshaping your bones. Music or a voice that lands inside you and rearranges something that was stuck. Physically, people describe it like a pressure behind the forehead, a night-blooming ache at the center of the skull, or brief pulses of light behind closed eyes. Emotionally, awakening can mirror grief. Old wounds surface not to harm you, but to clear the receiver. The twist most seekers don't expect is this. What feels like a malfunction or illness can be the gland reclaiming its voice. The disorientation is, paradoxically, a sign that the system is repairing its signal. Science and mysticism intersect here. Modern researchers note how the pineal responds to light, cycles, and biochemical rhythms. Mystics have always described it as a doorway. Think of the pineal as a tiny lighthouse and your nervous system as the coastline. When the light recalibrates, new shores become visible. That visibility is not always photogenic visions. Often, it is a keener moral sense, a sudden intolerance for shallowness, a longing for meaning that will not be comforted by distraction. Practical signs you might be living through. Lucid dreams that leave afterimages in waking life. Synchronized coincidences that arrive like purposeful knocks. An intuitive knowing that precedes facts. Sensitivity to artificial light or sugar. An urge to seek silence and natural rhythm. Each sign asks for kindness, not alarm. Grounding becomes devotion. Sleep, water, slow movement, nature, and the courage to feel what surfaces. If you are noticing these shifts, remember, you are the protagonist of this inner pilgrimage, not a patient of your experience, but its compassionate witness. Hold what comes with a steady breath and watch how your perception begins to realign. What if these signs are actually invitations to learn a new language of reality, and not merely to see more, but to respond differently? Subtle signals. How your pineal gland is opening. A sudden flash of inner light pierces the usual gray of your mornings. Not blinding, but precise. Like a lighthouse beam finding a forgotten shore. You feel it in the hush behind your eyes, in the way a dream lingers when you wake. This is not dramatic. It is intimate. It is the beginning of recognition. You may notice small, almost trivial things at first. A pressure or warmth between your brows. A taste that comes and goes, like metal on the tongue. Dreams that arrive with urgent clarity. Time may bend, minutes stretching into thick, luminous moments, and coincidences begin to feel scripted, as if life is tuning in to a frequency you've quietly turned toward. Ordinary sounds may carry texture. A streetlight might pulse in sympathy with your breathing. These are not malfunctions. They are signals. There is a tenderness to this opening. Past pain, the old wounds that made you hard, can resurface, but now they arrive with a new lens. What once felt like collapse can be a refining flame. The twist most don't expect is this. The disturbance is the doorway. The dizziness, the emotional rawness, the sleepless nights, they are the body rearranging itself to hold wider perception. Your nervous system is learning a new alphabet. Practical care matters here, but in a way that honors mystery. Grounding is not a platitude. It's the bridge between sky and root. Place bare feet on grass when you can. Breathe with intention. Slow exhale, soft pause, gentle inhale. In the mornings, keep a small notebook by your bed and scribble the residue of dreams before the day erases them. These fragments are breadcrumbs. When a synchronicity appears, pause, speak a quiet acknowledgement, a single sentence like "I see you," and feel how attention amplifies the signal. Protect the tender openings. Reduce overstimulation. Choose foods that feel light and whole, and minimize loud, chaotic media while you integrate. Small rituals help. Hold warm salt water against your feet. Cup your face in both hands and breathe into the brow center. Or carry a smooth stone and check in with its weight when thoughts accelerate. These acts are not magic spells. They are commitments to presence. They teach your body that it is safe to expand. There will be confusion. People around you might not understand these shifts. Some will resist the change in you. That is part of the initiation. Your inward seeing recalibrates relationships and choices. The deeper invitation is to meet each dissonance with curiosity rather than judgment. Listen for the gentle instructions, a phrase that repeats in your thoughts, a place that calls you, the face that evokes unexpected compassion. These are not random. They are invitations from a wider field. If your inner sight is stirring, what is it beginning to show you about the life you thought you wanted and the life you have the courage to become? Embodied activations, gentle practices to awaken your pineal and raise your vibration. Your body holds a biological doorway into higher reality, the pineal gland. It is quieter than your thoughts, thinner than a whisper, and yet it can become a steady lamp that softens the edges of your world. When it begins to open, life will feel both familiar and slowly unfamiliar, as if the furniture of your interior room has been rearranged so you can finally see the windows. This is not a list of rigid rules. Think of these practices as tiny keys, each one turning a fraction of a degree until the lock aligns. Start by listening to rhythm. Not music at first, but the cadence of your own breath. Try this gentle breath. Inhale softly for 4 counts. Hold for 3, as if cradling a small sacred thing. Exhale for 6, and imagine releasing tightness as a ribbon slips from your hand. Do this 3 times when you wake, and 3 times before sleep. It trains your nervous system to receive subtler frequencies. Light and dark are your allies. Spend 5 minutes each morning with your eyes closed in gentle sunlight on your face. Not to stare, but to let the light land. In the evening, reduce artificial brightness. Allow the dark to feel like a curtain drawing around a stage. The pineal is sensitive to cycles. Honor them, and you give it a language. Sound can tune or fray. Choose one resonant tone, a soft bell, a humming in your throat, the hum of a sustained Om, and practice it for 2 minutes. Notice where the vibration settles in your head and chest. Let this sound be a benevolent magnet that gathers scattered attention back to the center. There will be signs, dream clarity, sudden tastes of grief or bliss, a quiet hunger for truth rather than distraction. Here's the twist. Activation often feels like loss before gain. You may feel pulled away from old comforts, not because you're broken, but because your perception is refining itself. That contraction is not failure, it is pruning. Tend to it with kindness. Practical boundaries matter. Ground after sensitive journeys. Walk barefoot. Drink cool water. Eat simple whole food. Speak your truth softly. Protect your attention like a guardian. Limit entertainment that fragments your focus. Small fasts from screens, done with intention, open space for inner signals to arrive. Finally, practice a short inward question each night. What do I need to hear tomorrow? Not to command, but to invite. Rest in the listening with patience. The inner eye prefers a steady gaze, not a frantic search. As your awareness rises, what will you choose to attend to? The noise you once called life, or the quiet notes beneath it that are waiting to be heard? You came all the way to the edge. That alone says something sacred about you. Thank you for staying, for listening with more than your ears, for letting this moment move you. This path asks for quiet courage, and you answered. You are not accidental background noise in the universe. You are a responding instrument. The signal found you because something inside you has been tuning itself to a higher pitch. Notice that feeling now. The small widening behind your eyes, the subtle shift in how your heart steadies. That is not fantasy. It's the first soft geometry of a new perception rearranging itself within you. Honor it. This is exactly the kind of arrival the soul remembers. Brief, luminous, and quietly irreversible. You are being invited into a different map of reality, one that remembers meaning, resonance, and the language of light. If what you heard touched you, let me ask for something simple. Drop a yes in the comments if you felt an opening, or share one small sign you've noticed since you began looking inward. Tell us a brief truth, a dream that returned, a synchronicity that startled you, a night when the dark felt differently. These small testimonies are beacons. They help another seeker recognize their own stirrings. If you prefer, simply breathe 2 slow breaths now and notice what rises. You are not alone in this. There is a gentle constellation forming. People like you who are choosing curiosity over fear, presence over distraction. When you speak your truth here, you anchor the field for everyone else. That is how communities become sanctuaries, one honest voice at a time. Consider us a circle where each light strengthens another. Your awakening is not private, it ripples. If you'd like a practice, keep it simple and private. Cradle your attention like a small flame, not to control it, but to keep it warm. Let inquiry be your lantern, not forcing, only illuminating what wants to be seen. When doubt arrives, greet it as a visitor with a familiar face. It carries keys. When grace arrives, let it rest. No need to perform. You are learning a new grammar of presence. Before you go, make this an intimate vow to yourself. To notice more, to forgive faster, to follow the small invitations toward beauty. The world is changing its frequency, and you are part of that shift. Walk gently with your widening sight. Share the simplest truth you can. A sentence, a sensation, a yes. Keep shining your light. Remain present. Breathe and absorb this energy in gratitude.